Welcome back to another episode of the Main Street Money Show podcast. And we are rocking and rolling, working through the Wealth Steps order of operations. And we've worked through step 1 through 3. Now we're into step 4 in the working years. So you got 2 more steps after this, retiree years, and you got your estate planning. But in this episode, let me ask you a question. Do you know the wealth building strategy that you're pursuing? And if the answer to that question is no, then take a listen to this one. We're going to lay it out for you to where you can just figure out, okay, am I on the business owner path? Am I on the 401k path? Am I on the stock market investing path? Am I on the real estate path? And so that's what you have to figure out. A lot of the folks that come in and have a chat with me, there's not a strategy. And so that's good. They're recognizing that they need help. They need assistance in figuring out what path are they on. Are they already working different steps and pulling different levers to the wealth accumulation strategies? Or are they just flying by the wind? And there's nothing wrong with wherever you're at. We got to figure out, where do you need to go? Where do you want to go is the question. Do you want to show up in retirement with $500,000? Do you want to show up in retirement with $3 million? Because based on those answers, it's really going to determine what you need to do. And so if you're like, you know what, I just want to put in 10% a year and whatever I end up with, I get. There's nothing wrong with that. Will you come up short? Who knows? But the odds are that the more that you prepare for the future, the better off you're going to be over time. So if you know where you need to go to get a certain rate of return, so let's just say, hey, I need 5% per year for the next 20 years. Well, you may not need to take extra risk by going into the stock market. But if you're like, hey, you know what, I need to take a chance to see if I can get more than 10% per year for the next 20 years, odds are you're either going to be forced down the business owner path or you're going to be forced down into investing in the markets. So folks that show up and say, hey, Patrick, what do I need to do? Well, do you own a business? Are you getting started with your business, or are you in year 15 of your business and there's already systems, processes, you know what kind of profit margins you're making? And if that's you, then you're probably light years ahead of the individual that's, in year 2 or 3, and they're building out these systems and processes with the goal of maybe selling that business to fund a large percentage of their retirement. So for the business owner individual, they might not be as focused on putting money into the markets. More so, they're interested in building the systems and processes and investing in their business so that they can get a higher multiple on what the business sells for. So if you're just working a day job, and let's just say your household income, you're making $150,000 a year between you and your spouse, or you and some other side business that you're doing, if you're single, it doesn't matter where the money is coming from, but we need to know how much it is. We need to know what access to certain type of accounts, whether we can do like a solo 401k, SEP IRA, traditional IRA, Roth IRA. These are the questions that we have to get answered, and the way that we answer these questions is reverse engineering. We're working backwards. We're starting with the end in mind. How much do we need to show up in retirement with? And then how can we get there in a tax efficient manner? So once we figure that out, we can figure out, okay, you know what? I'm going to keep working for the next 15 years, and I'm going to contribute 10 to 20% of my income out of my salary, and it's going into this 401k. Well, let's look inside your 401k and see if it's a traditional 401k, or does it have the availability to do like a Roth 401k? So it's different sub accounts inside your 401k. And so as we move through the process of setting up the plan for your working years, it's really just a matter of sticking to the plan. Once we figure it out, and that's what folks come to me for, is they want a financial plan first, and then we work through all the different steps through the Wealth Steps order of operations. We figure out what applies to your individual circumstance. We figure out, are you doing real estate? Are you building a portfolio of rental properties to where you're going to sell that in 20 years for $2-3 million? Or are we only doing retirement accounts with 401ks? Once we figure that out, we can start to make progress. But in this video, I want to make sure that you know where you need to go to get a certain rate of return, whether that's investing in your business, investing in real estate, or investing in the stock market. So if you have questions about what you need to do or where you're at, then I do a free call. It's a discovery call. We just have a quick conversation about where you're at, what you want to do, and how you want to accomplish it. And then I come in and provide some feedback. And then from there, we figure out if a long-term relationship is something that we need to do. But that's it for this episode, and I'll see you on the next one. We're going to talk specifically about real estate and house hacking.